Well, I saw we dey talk how you dey? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, from wherever you dey watch me from. This na serious matter what matters on top ONIF TV. Now my name na Olukunle Abraham, and now on top this issue of Abba Kyari now we still dey. Because no be just Abba Kyari be the issue now. We wan look at this case don affect the image of Nigeria, as touching police and all of that. When you look at what happened during the NSAS, all of the NSAS issue on the 20th of October 2020, you would by the time you do 1+1, and you agree with some of the things we are going to talk about for inside this particular video. Credits to Punch, Editorial. They talk say on top Kyari case, FG police have badly sold Nigeria's image. Totos from the onset, the long-running scandal involving a disgraced senior police officer, Abba Kyari, just got messier. From being indicted in 2021 for aiding the fraudster Raymond Abbas, aka Hush Puppy, he has allegedly been caught red-handed and neck-deep in international drug trafficking by agents of the Nigerian or National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, and is finally in their custody. The sordid affair is still unfolding before a shocked global audience. Every one of us, we are shocked. Without questions, Nigeria's global reputation on corruption, misgovernance, fragile institutions has suffered further battering. When I did the last video yesterday, I mentioned that Nigerians cannot really move, even when you have the right papers, you are still being checked. They check you specially. Every Nigerian looks to the outside world like a criminal. Every Nigerian looks to the outside world. Even religious leaders are being checked. I once heard that a man of God once traveled out of this country without passports. That was because of the reverence that was accorded in that even the immigration forgot to ask him for his passport and check to be sure that he had a visa to go to that country. He went and came back. He was testifying. But things have gotten messier now. And when you now hear about the things that are happening at the moment, getting to see a senior police officer being involved in drug trafficking, you now begin to wonder what is really happening. Wars may be on the way. From the president, Major General Buhari retired, who, as usual, failed to act swiftly and decisively when Kyari was first fingered in a fraud deal by the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, down to the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, who has been ambiguous in punishing the tarnished police officer, and the official delay to facilitate his extradition. As demanded by the US government, the country has been ill-served. The lack of synergy among critical agencies prevalent in this regime is also playing out. Some NDLA operatives too will not escape exposure. We foresaw a number of things going on the ground that were not being made known to the general. Because when all these things now came out now, we all began to see that, what about they saw this guy was being suspended. How come he still had his team and they were making arrests and all of that? And so that means one thing or the other was not in place. Our leaders are not acting swiftly. I don't see any reason why it was not, if not that we are trying to cover up something. If we are not trying to cover up something, there was no reason why a Nigerian, a police officer in Nigeria, he is a Nigerian like every other person. What makes him different? Nobody is above the law. Even Abba Kyari is not above the law. Nobody is above the law. Why didn't he go if he is innocent? Why didn't you allow him go? Why did we have to wait up till now? If he was innocent or if he is innocent, then he would have gone and come back. Even though this could have still probably would have still happened. From this scandal, Buhari should take sweeping, decisive actions, including sacking complicit senior officials, overhauling the police and the office of the Attorney General of the Federation, as well as taking charge of and coordinating the anti-corruption and anti-drug trafficking war. Nothing less will suffice to salvage the havoc done to the country's image. We have a terribly damaged image. Very terrible. Until I saw this editorial, I didn't really think I was going to talk about Abba Kyari, because it's all over. It's all over. And what I would have loved to say, a number of you already spoke my mind. They already spoke my mind. You know, the police has even recommended that he be demoted. But is that all? Is that all? In this same country, people will do, terrible things, and there will be a noise at the beginning and suddenly the whole thing will just die down. Yet we are fighting corruption at the peak. Till when? Till when? Who is fighting corruption? I mean, corruption itself is fighting us. No wonder these countries, even, well-equipped Western countries, are not concerned. They are not trying to put their head into helping us to solve our insurgent issues. Kidnapping, banditry, and all of this. One trip, one help from the United States will wipe out Boko Haram and all of them. When it's not like you don't know their location. But on ground here, one of our past leaders said something. I'll paraphrase. He said, if in any country where insurgents last more than 24 hours, you go and sort the rest out. Well, the drama came into public glare on Monday when the FDA spokesman, Femi Babafemi, addressed a news conference in Abuja where he dropped the bombshell that Kyari, a deputy commissioner of police, has been ensnared in the sting operation while aiding and abetting drug trafficking. Kyari had allegedly sought to bribe NDLA operatives, tamper with exhibits, and facilitate pollution with drug traffickers, he said. Babafemi declared, with the intelligence at our disposal, the agency believes strongly that DCP Kyari is a member of a drug cartel that operates the Brazil, Ethiopia, and Nigeria illicit drug pipeline. This is damning. He presented video evidences that appear to show Kyari making illegal deals with an NDLA agent and handing over $61,400 as a bribe to pervert justice. Consequently, the NDLA declared Kyari, who headed the IGP's intelligence response team before his suspension, in quotes, wanted. Shortly after, the Nigerian police headquarters issued a statement saying Baba had ordered an investigation into the matter. Crucially, it said the force had arrested Kyari and 4 other officers and handed them over to the NDLA. Regardless of how the case ends, the entire Kyari saga exposes how deep corruption, impunity, incompetence, and criminality have corroded institutions and governance in Nigeria. True, under the law, Kyari and other suspects are presumed innocent until otherwise pronounced by the courts. But his case smear mud on this regime, the police, and the system. Many questions beg for answers, including the conduct of key officials. Start with the IG. When in July last year, a U.S. court indicted Kyari in the $1.1 million scam perpetrated by Abbas and ordered his arrest, based on which the U.S. eventually requested Kyari's extradition to face trial. But Abbas suspended the SY Super Corps, in quotes. As a Lagos-based civil rights lawyer, Femi Falana observed that a serving police officer who is suspended would also be able to mobilize police personnel to go and perpetrate drug trafficking, shows that the system has collapsed. I feel like weeping for our dear nation. We are in serious, and I mean serious mess. Serious mess. Quite a number of headings made the media go gaga. A lot of headings, from head to row, more names to be mentioned, more arrests to be made with all this. And Baba must explain how Kyari was able to conduct operations and mobilize police officers he called my boys while ostensibly on suspension. The IGP should be able to tell us something. That is, if he has not resigned. Things like this don't happen in the Western world where human beings live. People call Nigeria zoo. So unfortunate. I'm not an animal. So are so many of you. We are not animals. But the way we conduct ourselves, because even animals have regard for colony, they have regard for domain. They have regards for themselves. Animals, and I mean real animals. A lion does not just go into another lion's domain. It's likely to have life snuffed out of it. And so, what are we saying? We need explanations. How is somebody who is on suspension, conducting boys again? Especially as another officer had been appointed to run the unit. Besides, Baba needs to explain why it took him 4 days after the NDLA formally requested it and the viral public exposure by the NDLA to arrest and hand Kyari and his accomplice over to the drug law agency. It took 4 days. As if Kyari is invisible. Buhari should order an inquiry that will, among others, uncover the veracity or otherwise of attempts to shield, cover up, and exonerate Kyari, who recently turned up as a guest at the wedding of Baba's son in Maiduguri, Borno State, from the Hush Puppy extradition affair. Nigerians will recall that Baba has been having a running battle over Kyari with the Police Service Commission. While the IG's initial report on the Abbas case was deemed to be mild on the disgraced officer, the PSC has since insisted that the officer has a strong case to answer and should be so treated. Its insistence on a new investigating panel after it rejected the template result of the one set up by the IG has not been acted upon. That's why, elsewhere, there is zero tolerance for corruption law enforcement of corrupt law enforcement officers. In February 2020, a South Texas U.S. police officer, Hector Beltran, was sentenced to 10 years in jail for drug trafficking. Similarly, in May 2021, a corrupt Scotland Yard United Kingdom officer, Kahib Mahmood, was jailed 8 years for involvement with a drug gang from whom he also stole £850,000. China executes such offenders. An independent inquiry should thoroughly examine the role of the office of the AGF. Though Malami has also always declared that the Federation or the federal government is cooperating with the US government over the extradition request, some civil rights groups have alleged delaying tactics in bringing Kyari to trial by his office. That is not all. The police also alleged collision with traffickers by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency operatives, citing investigations and confessions by detained suspects. This is certainly plausible. The NDLA Chairman and Chief Executive Muhammad Marwa should first order a thorough internal investigation to smoke out complicit officers. Buhari's investigation should also encompass the agency. The police allegations should not be swept under the carpet. Buhari should wake up to the reality of his regime in near course. Agencies and officials go rogue, often working at cross purposes, lacking effective coordination, and with the president perpetually aloof and inattentive. Anti-corruption and security agencies often operate as they like. In this case, corruption is also on display, so is impunity. He must rein in both. It should set up a strong inquiry, shake up the police, and order extensive reform. All those who colluded with or shielded Kyari should be uncovered, flushed out of the service, and prosecuted. Now, the process must be transparent enough to dismiss conspiracy theories of a ploy to prevent Kyari's extradition. All processes, including investigation, trial, and extradition, should be expedited and long-lasting reform undertaken. And I think I should add, they should be made public. Everyone should get to know what was done and how everything went. This is still Serious Matters on ONIF TV. We are looking at this together. And I want you to do your best by sharing this video and also dropping your comments. That is most important. That is why it's called Serious Matters. Drop your comments. What do you think about this whole thing? Yes, calling in. Okay. What do you think about this whole thing? What's your opinion? What's your opinion? I mean, are we on the right path? This editorial by Punch. What do you say about it? Don't you think? Don't you speak? I mean, because sincerely speaking, this writer spoke my mind. He spoke my mind, and I understood everything. I just understood, so I just felt that okay. So let's talk about it. Let's see how this goes. Let's talk about it. Still Serious Matters on ONIF TV. This is Olukunle Abraham, and of course we keep digging deep. We'll bring updates, further updates. But you also just look at this. Let's look at it together. What's your opinion on this particular matter? Let's see how it all goes. Make your comments simple and simple. We are looking at this editorial that says FG police badly sold Nigerians' image. May God help also, seriously, because it's entire myself. Osumi. Okay, make a press break here. Thank you very much.